Welcome back. In this video, we're going to tackle the Bootstrap 4 grid system. So really important part of Bootstrap, probably the most commonly used feature or thing in all of Bootstrap. It's not that different from Bootstrap 3. The core ideas are the same. We have rows, and inside each row, we have 12 pieces that we can divide up between different columns, and we can sort of jiggle it around depending on the screen size. So if you look at this doc again, I know I keep coming back to this, to look at the changes from 3 to 4, one of the biggest ones is that there is a new extra small breakpoint, which is kind of, it's confusing because if we look back at the docs from Bootstrap 3, there was already an extra small. But if you look at the pixel values, it was 768 and less. So then small was 768 and greater until we hit 992 for medium, and large was 1200 and greater. Well, things have changed a bit because now there's a new size below this, and that thing is called extra small. So that new breakpoint is at 576 pixels. So things are shifted over. When we say extra small on Bootstrap 3, it's referring to this size, anything less than 768. That is now referring to small in Bootstrap 4. Extra small is less than 576. I can never remember the exact numbers. So there's now 5 breakpoints, and that also means that this has been relabeled to medium, this is large, and this is now extra large. Another change is that back then we used to say column extra small, column small. Well, we still say column small and medium and large and extra large, but just like with the other classes we've seen, like padding and margin utility classes, the display class, there is no extra small. Instead, we just do the default as extra small, and then we apply other things for different sizes. So this will make more sense probably in a moment. Back then we had 12 columns. We still have 12 columns. So on the docs, there's a new section that wasn't on Bootstrap 3 documentation called layout. And inside of this, there's a grid section, and it's really well documented, tons of examples, and I'm going to ignore this for a little bit, but know that it's built with Flexbox, it's fully responsive, so deflex display is set to flex on the grid automatically. The things we have to do, we have to make a container. It can also be a container or a fluid container, which goes all the way across the screen, or a regular container, but you need one of those. And then you need a row class. And inside each row, you have some number of columns. Like always, I have a new document here with Bootstrap 4, and there's a container already that I've been working in. And inside of this, let's make a row. So it's going to be a div with the class of row, and I'll give it a border, and let's make that border danger. Okay. So this should now go all the way across. There's nothing in there. So it's up to us to decide what we actually want to go inside of this. But let's say that we're working with, let's do an H3 maybe, and we'll do 2 of them. And we want them to evenly divide the space inside of there. So this first one is going to say, I don't know, half. And the second one will say half. To do that, we just say column 6. So this is not responsive. There are 12 units. We get 6 for this one and 6 for the second one. And they always split that space. Let's give them a background. So the first one will be BG info and the second one will be BG warning. And there you go. You see that they split that space half and half. Now it looks like there is some margin going on. Let's see. Let's set them all to be margin 0. It doesn't matter. It's just that little space at the bottom is kind of annoying. Okay, so they are 50-50 right now. And I kind of put myself in a corner by saying half and half. Let me change this to just thing 1 and thing 2. All right, so now I can change how they behave. So the first thing we might want to do is instead of making them column 6, maybe I want this one to be 4. And then this other one is going to be, well, it's up to me, but if we have 12 units and I want to use all the space, I would be using 8. So this is probably, hopefully, a review from the earlier sections on Bootstrap 3 with the grid system. Same idea. But what we can also do is make it responsive, of course. So if I want them to split half and half, but then I want them to stack, like right here, I want them to stack there. What I would do is say column small 6, column small 6. So this says once we get to small, then you should take up 6 out of 12. Otherwise, any other time, which is really just extra small, because this is small and up. So extra small, they're going to stack, as you can see here. And then once we hit small, they go to 50-50 the entire way. Okay, and we could shift that if I wanted to. Let's say that I want the yellow thing, the warning thing, to grow a lot larger at the extra large size, and I want this one to shrink down. We can do that pretty easily. So if it's at extra large, we'll say column extra large, and how much do we want it to grow? Let's say we want it to grow all the way to 9. And then this one, in order to make that work, is going to need to shrink down to 3. Column extra large, 3. So this says, normally at extra small, they should stack. Once we hit small and above, they should be 6 and 6, so 50-50. I should refresh the page to make sure it's working. And then once we hit extra large, there we go. This one takes 3 out of 12, and this is 9 out of 12. So to recap the main differences so far, first, all the breakpoints have been shifted because we've added in this new extra small size down here. But at the same time, we don't reference extra small anymore, which is kind of confusing because that's the way Bootstrap 4 works now. Extra small and above is the default, and then we apply things for small and above and medium and above and so on. But remember, there's a new size. So if you were to say medium in Bootstrap 3, medium was referring to anything greater than 992 pixels, but less than 1200. That is now large, and medium now is 768. Small is now between 576 and 768, and then extra small is less than 576. So we can also avoid having to add numbers in and just make things equal width if we wanted to. So I can show you that here. Let's say I make another row down below. So it's div, class of row, and then I'm going to use divs this time instead of h3s. And the first one, I'm just going to give class of column. And I'm just going to say thing. And let's give it a background. This one will be primary. I'll duplicate this. Let's just do 3 of them. Primary, info, and success. Just 3 different colors. And you'll see I don't have to assign any values. They automatically take up a third. They're sharing the space. And if I removed one, they're going to share the space 50-50. And if I added one, then it would be 25% each. And the other thing I can do is give one of them a width, like column 6. And then what this will do is always take up 6 out of 12, and the other 2 will share the remaining space. So this one takes up twice as much as the other 2. And that's pretty nifty to be able to, automatically have that assigned. So after this video, I'm going to show you a bit of a project that we can make using the grid system, using the card components. And then later we'll talk about where Flexbox comes in. But we can see, if we do inspect the grid, look at the row, any of the rows, you'll see that display is already set to Flex. So it's built with Flexbox. That means we have access to the Flex utilities. Now, I'm not going to introduce that just yet, but that would allow us to align things vertically or horizontally, or let's say that we had extra space in here, that we didn't use all of the space up. We could take advantage of Flex utilities to figure out how to position things inside of that empty space.